Hi, my name is Anna. I'm a full-time potter, and today I'm going to be showing you my glazing process. I am in full production mode right now. I'm getting ready for 2 big shows in the fall and just the general holiday season, and I really like to be ahead, so I'm producing so much stuff right now. I just unloaded the bisque kiln, and this week I need to glaze about 100 mugs, 13 dinner plates, some odd amount of little trinket dishes, a bunch of pipes, and about 300 magnets. So let's do it! Here's all of the stuff that I just unloaded. I have banana slug handled mugs and just a few banana slug mugs. There's more, but they didn't fit into this kiln, so I'll glaze them in the next run, and that's fine. A bunch of mushroom mugs. Lots of these little plates that I think I'm gonna paint banana slugs on. Some nice big dinnerware plates, and I'm gonna paint animals on these. So many slug pipes. A bunch of these tide pool mugs from my ocean series. And then some new mugs. I have octopus handled mugs and whale handled mugs, and then just some full octopi mugs. And then I have 40 of these little guys. They just have a little mushroom for the thumb rest. These are my quickest design and my lowest priced items, so they've been selling really well, and I wanted to have a lot for all of my fall markets. And then I have over 300 magnets. I just counted them. I decided to start with my banana slug pieces, really just because I'm super tired of glazing them, so I wanted to get them out of the way. It's funny because they're one of my favorite things to sculpt right now, but I've just been so over glazing them. My process is generally assembly line style, so basically I do one step for all of the pieces I'm working on before moving on to the next step. For glazing, that looks like painting on each underglaze color on every piece before moving on to the next color. For my banana slugs, I do 2 thick coats of yellow on every piece, and then I put the yellow away, get out my orange, and paint orange accents on every piece. Similarly, for my mushroom mugs, I paint all of the stems brown, and then all of the caps red, and then I add the white dots. Then each sculpture gets a light brush of clear glaze, and I wax them. This bit is so tedious just because the wax is super difficult to work with texture-wise, and if you get it anywhere it's not supposed to be, there's really no way to get it off except for refiring the piece. But it'll allow me to dip the entire piece in glaze without any sticking to the sculptures I painted or the bottom of the piece. Next, I am glazing my ocean series. I live in coastal California, so these pieces do really well in these parts all year round, but I'm making them specifically for the Capitola Art and Wine Show in September. This show is in the Capitola Village, right on the water, and I've heard that oceany themed work does especially well. I've also heard that vendors can sell a lot of work, so that is why I'm prepping so hard right now. Anyways, I've made the tide pool mugs before and the octopi mugs, but this was my first time making whale and octopus handled mugs. I decided to glaze them the same way though, with a wash of iron oxide that I wipe away. This really brings out the detail of the textures in my sculpture work, and I like how clean and simple it looks as opposed to painting them with colors. Same as my other sculpture mugs, these get a layer of wax over the sculpture bit, and I set them aside so that I can dip them in glaze later. All of these are waxed, and then tomorrow I'll dip them in glaze. I like to let the wax sit overnight because then the glaze rolls off a lot better the next morning and just sticks less. I have so much stuff, and there's also some stuff from my last glaze that didn't make it in, so I decided that I'm going to load the kiln tomorrow, and then I'll keep glazing while it fires and load another one right after that. I think all I need to get done tomorrow to make that kiln load happen is dip all of this stuff in glaze and then glaze at least some of the magnets, just because it would really let me maximize the kiln space if I had some ready that could go in between things. That was day 1. On the third day of glazing, I decided it was time to tackle the mushroom thumb rest mugs. I sold out of these super quickly the last time I had them, so I wanted to make a bunch for my next few markets, and I have 40 inserts for my bat system, so that is the most I can throw without getting out my big circle bats, so that's how many of these mugs I made. Sometimes people ask if making the same thing over and over again bothers me, and I know I've done a little bit of complaining about my slug situation, but for the most part I find the repetition soothing. Once I have a design figured out, making it over and over requires such little brain power, and I can just relax and go through the motions. It's actually one of my favorite things about pottery. On my fourth day of glazing, the first thing I did when I got to the studio was dip my mushroom thumb rest mugs in glaze in order to make room to unload the kiln. I was genuinely so stoked on how everything turned out, especially my ocean mugs, which I am just so excited to start bringing to markets and releasing online. My next project is the dinner plates. This is only my third round of making these woodland creature plates. The first batch I just made on a whim and ended up selling as a set, and the second batch I made custom for a customer who wanted a full set of plates from me. I was very, very proud of both sets, so I wanted to recreate them to bring to my next show. This is one of the only times I've made dinner plates outside of a custom order, just because I don't know how many people are really trying to buy individual dinner plates at a street fair, but I think they're some of my best work that I've made recently, so I really want to be able to have them with me and on display. I ended up doing a frog, cat, bird, beetle, rabbit, and snail, but I'm super open to any animal suggestions if you want to leave them in the comments. A few weeks ago, around the time I was throwing the plates, I decided that I was so excited about the woodland creature designs that they deserved a bigger canvas, and I made this platter. Then the platter sat around, bisqued and ready to paint for about 3 weeks because I didn't know what to put on it. I just wanted it to be so, so special because I don't make a lot of these platters and I totally could. It's just that I find them really annoying to fire because they take up a whole kiln shelf and then tedious to cart around to markets because they don't always sell quickly and they're a bit bigger than I am comfortable shipping. But seeing this one come out, I think it's totally, totally worth it. I glaze the platter the same way I glaze all of my plates by pouring clear glaze into them, pouring it out, and then painting the edge with some of my blue rutile glaze. This just gives them a soft blue halo around the rim, and I think it really makes a big difference and looks really pretty after the firing. Good morning. I just got to the studio. The kiln fired all the way last night, but it's at 1500 degrees, so I still won't be able to unload it until tomorrow morning. And today my big goal is just to get done with all of my miscellaneous little glazing tasks. I just have a few things that still need to be glazed. I'm really glad that I ended up loading the kiln yesterday because I wanted to have all of my glazing done when I loaded the second kiln because I was delusional and I thought that maybe more stuff would fit. But I could barely even fit all of the stuff that was already glazed, so it ended up not mattering. Today I'm going to glaze these little plates. I'm going to put banana slugs on them. I have a few more of these plates. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the woodland creatures or also banana slugs. Could be fun. And then I have a few more miscellaneous things right here. I have this planter, and inside it I have a little altar and a cup, and I want to paint those. And then I have 3 of these mirror frames. I have 9-inch mirror circles and I measured them so that I can glue them to the inside once they're painted. So I want to paint something on them. And this was the second kiln unload. I cannot believe I glazed so much stuff that it couldn't even fit in 2 full kiln loads, but it happened, and all in under a week. I hope you enjoyed seeing this peek into my process, and if you love any of these pieces so much that you want to buy them, mosey on down to the description and visit my site. I usually don't have work available, but you can sign up for my email list to get a notification when I restock, which I do about 10 times a year. And I promise to never spam your inbox. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!